We're here on the plaintiff's motion for specific parenting time. I have read both the motion and response. Ms. Boldish Bryant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Since you've read the motion, you already know it's our request to have a specific parenting time scheduled between my client, Mr. Kaiser, and their daughter, who is 14 years old. The parties now both reside in Rockford, very close to one another, 3 to 4 miles away. He enjoys a very good relationship with his daughter. I noticed that in the response that was filed, that there were a number of text messages purportedly exchanged between the parties. When I showed that with Mr. Kaiser, he actually screenshotted some of these texts, and it was clear that they were presented out of order. I assume that was just an unintentional mistake. But the whole conversation really started with him asking his wife for a specific parenting time schedule. And then she had responded, "There's no way that Madison is going over to your house." And that's the part of the text message which is out of order. There is another part of the text message which was quoted in the answer, and I think it's out of context, which basically says that, which purports to say that he somehow threatened her, and all he had indicated in his message was that she shouldn't be mean-spirited. And if you look closely at the entire text message, which is on page 5 of the attachment, you can see that the entire context of it was that that if she continued to be mean-spirited, it would eat her alive. So I felt like that was really quite out of context. The bottom line is that he seeks a specific parenting time schedule. The court statutes indicate that if we make that request, the court should grant that. Given what has happened in this case, he asked for alternate weeks, or that we go to a 2-2-5 schedule. He really has no preference as to whether it's he takes Monday, Tuesday, or whether mom takes Monday, Tuesday. But we need to get this situation back on track so that he can exercise his parenting time. I also wanted to remind the court that the temporary order does indicate that the parties will share legal and physical custody, so we don't have that issue about the label of the custodial arrangement. I also noticed that the other side made a request for child support and parenting time. I'm sorry, child support and spousal support. I wanted to remind the court that the parties are under a status quo order right now, continuing to share their income. I didn't see any support for the figures that were included in the response. And also we didn't receive a formal motion to set child support and spousal support. And if Attorney Van Dyken wishes to do that, then I would address that at that time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Van Dyken.
Thank you, Your Honor. Quite frankly, it's impossible for Mr. Kaiser to do week on, week off, nor has he ever done it. Since he moved out of the house last year, he has gone on at least 12 out-of-state trips, and they're not just overnight. They're 6, one's 12 days. He went on a boat trip in July. He's been at Beaver Island for 6 days, goes to Detroit, goes to deer camp, and he hasn't. I understand these parties were operating, well, Miss Kaiser was still in the home and Mr. Kaiser was living on the boat, but he wasn't living on his boat in October, November, December. He wasn't living anywhere where he could have the child, but he didn't. He just doesn't partake in this child's life. Quite frankly, Your Honor, everybody's asking for week on, week off, 50-50. We got a 14-year-old who is significantly involved in activities, and she wants to be in those activities. He travels so much and hasn't attended, as I listed in my response, the things he hasn't done. He just doesn't. He takes her out to lunch. He takes her, that's it. He doesn't participate, and he hasn't been a participant. If we're applauding a schedule, Your Honor, because Mr. Kaiser doesn't have boundaries. He just this week, when my client encouraged the child to go to his new home, he went into my client's new home, let himself in while she was upstairs letting the daughter know. He has no boundaries. So we're absolutely good with the schedule. We're looking at like every other weekend and maybe a weeknight or 2 weeknights if the child doesn't have activities, but this child is very, very busy. As for my request for child support, Your Honor, that goes hand in hand with the parenting time. The status quo order was he was paying the house payment while she was living in the home. Well, that house has now been sold. He's not paying her new house payment. So child support is necessary because the status quo has changed. They each have their own home. And he makes a significant more money than my client does. So that issue goes hand in hand with parenting time. It's no longer status quo. As for my request for spousal support, Your Honor, we have tried, how hard to get a mediation date. We've actually switched mediators to get a mediation date. We're scheduled for mediation in February. I will bring that motion for spousal support. I hope to address it at that mediation, but I'll probably file the motion because if we don't get it resolved there, I need the court to order some spousal support now that they are separate houses and they each have their own budgets. So Your Honor, we'd ask that the schedule be set every other weekend, one evening a week, or another 2 evenings per week, according to the child's schedule. And then by the time we get to mediation, I'm sure we could work out summers and holidays. Thank you.
Brian.
Thank you. My client indicates that he's fully available to take care of the child, take her to all of her activities, which are one of the issues that the court must explore. He's going to work around whatever schedule she has. He denies the representations that he has not been involved in her life. He's been fighting with his ex-wife, trying to have the parenting time. And the problem here is that I'm sorry, I referred to her as ex-wife, but soon to be ex-wife. The problem here is that mom doesn't understand that parenting time is going to take place on a regular basis. She's been resistant to it. She's involved the child in it. The child's already spent an overnight at Mr. Kaiser's home, enjoyed it, had a great time, said she was going to come back. And then the next day, as soon as she speaks with mom, feels, oh, maybe this isn't best. So we need to have that schedule, Your Honor. And I think that our request for a 2-2-5 schedule or the alternate week schedule is in order. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The statute clearly, in the case law, clearly support a specific schedule, and I'm not hearing any objection. In fact, I'm hearing that the the defendant welcomes a specific schedule. So then the question is, what should that schedule be? And based on, at least on the temporary information I have right now, there's clearly a dispute of facts here. But I will award every other weekend and 2 nights a week as a temporary order pending mediation. I will send this to the front of the court just because I think we need a deeper dive into what's going on here. Split the fees between the parties. I'll include child support as part of that order. And then I would expect the spousal support to be addressed at mediation. And if that is not resolved, then the court can take a look at that at some future date.
And I assume the 2 nights per week are overnight, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Overnight, midweek? You just said every other weekend and 2 nights a week. Are you saying overnight, midweek?
Yes, and that he provide all the transportation to any extracurricular activities.
I'll work out with Ms. Van Dyken as to which nights would work best.
So you're giving him a 50-50 schedule. You just did.
That is a 2-2-5 schedule. Is that correct, Your Honor? You want one party to have?
No, that's not what I intended.
Okay, that's what I thought. Evenings per week.
2 evenings per week, yes.
Right, thank you.
So he doesn't have any overnights with a 14-year-old during the week?
Friday, Saturdays.
Not at the moment. Like I said, I'm sending it to the front of the court for them to suss this out.
Is his on Sunday, may he have overnight on Sunday night of his weekend?
See, we're talking every other weekend. And then
he can get her to school on Monday morning. That
works. That works. That's closer to what I was thinking.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further?
No.
All right. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.